Disclaimer.
The thoughts and opinions expressed by our guests are not necessarily the views of Tash, Becky, or Be Your Best You podcast.
Hey there, lovely people. Welcome to Be Your Best You with Tash and Becky, your go-to hangout for all things spiritual, subconscious, and downright magical. We're here to sprinkle a little mystical wisdom into your everyday life and help you level up your reality.
Picture this as your cosmic coffee date, where we chat about the unseen world, blend in some psychology vibes, and stir up the subconscious magic. Get ready to be the queen of your own reality, live a life that lights you up, and have a blast doing it.
So grab your latte or your tea and let's dive into another episode of Be Your Best You, where the mystical meets the mundane and your best life awaits.
Cheers to creating magic together.
Let's do this.
Hi, welcome back to another episode of Be Your Best You with Tash.
And Becky, the guest edition. And today on the show, we have Chelsea and Sarah from Healing Embodied.
What an awesome conversation. You guys are in for a treat.
Two besties.
Yeah.
Like us.
Right, we talk all things somatic healing. They give us the breakdown. They give us the tools, the tricks. We get such a great insight into what somatic healing is, what it isn't, and why it's so important. And Chelsea and Sarah have such a brilliant way of making this seem so simple and obvious. You're going to leave here thinking, why have I not always done that?
Exactly.
And I'm going to do this immediately from this moment right now.
Yeah. Because we are.
Yes. We had loads of aha moments from it, didn't
Yeah.
we? And we feel sure that you guys are going to as well. And honestly, this is so important. Even in the work that I do, I'm not even it's not the somatic work. I'm not a somatic practitioner, but I know from working with the subconscious mind and working with people that you have got to get this somatic work down. You have to address this if you want changes from the mindset side of things when you're trying to shift identities and remove subconscious programming. This is a non-negotiable, and I really feel like this is a foundational understanding that we all need to have as human beings.
Yeah.
Got very serious there. I'm very sorry, but
Do what you're told.
yeah, enjoy this, guys, and watch it.
You will.
Before we start, if your mind is constantly telling you, I should be doing more, and you're stuck in that cycle of overthinking, pressure, and never feeling like you've done enough, we've made you a free 12-minute audio reset. It's called Return to Self, and it's linked in the show notes. And today we have on the show Sarah and Chelsea. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. So excited to be here.
Awesome. Oh, this is the first time we've had like a three-way conversation.
Yeah.
So this is really cool. Everything looks different. Right. Okay. So, ladies, before we dig into everything somatic healing and embodiment, which we're really excited about, would you guys just introduce yourselves to our audience and let them know what it is you're currently doing in the world?
Sure. Hi. I'm Chelsea Horton. I'm the founder and CEO of Healing Embodied. We have an international online coaching and education company where we support people in knowing how to feel their feelings, right? That's a big thing out there. It's like, feel your feelings, feel it to heal it. What does that actually mean? So we help people actually know how to work with any and all emotions in their bodies. And then we also train coaches, therapists, healers, practitioners in somatic work. So we teach other people, how do you do this kind of work with your clients? And we absolutely are obsessed with what we do.
Oh, that's amazing.
We are obsessed. And I'm Sarah. I'm the COO of Healing Embodied. And so I co-facilitate all of our group programs alongside of Chelsea. I do individual work, and then she and I co-created and co-facilitate the Healing Embodied practitioner training program she mentioned. So yeah, we work very closely. She and I, work wives, as we say.
lovely.
Lovely.
Oh, amazing. Right. Okay. So many questions. But I think, so we were saying earlier, sometimes it's really helpful to hear other people's stories and journeys of how they kind of got to where they are now, so that you can kind of relate and go, well, that's me, that's just exactly, you know, kind of where I was, and this is what I can then do to help myself. So would you guys be happy to share your kind of personal journeys as to how you got to doing the work that you're doing now?
Sure. So I can start. So yeah, I went to undergrad for dance and psychology. So I've been a dancer my whole life, and then really wanted to study dance. The psychology I just kind of threw in there. Both of my parents they're retired now, but they were therapists as well. So I say I was bred for this career. Um, and didn't, I enjoyed the psych classes. I didn't think much of it. Fast forward to my third year in school. Here in the States, college, university is typically 4 years for undergrad. So third year, I started to have my at least first dark night of the soul, where I started to realize I really did not want to pursue a professional dance career. Just everything that went into it was just not for me. Which was a huge, scary awakening, because I'd been working for so long and put so many hours and thousands of dollars into thinking this was the route I was going to pursue. And so I had a big awakening of, I don't want to do that, but I also can't imagine a life where I don't have movement and dance at the forefront. So what else is possible? That's how I found dance movement therapy. So I ended up going to grad school at Columbia College Chicago. That's where Chelsea and I met. We were in the same program for dance movement therapy and counseling. And I'm sure we'll get into all of this later when we talk about somatic healing, but dance movement therapy is a specific form of somatic healing, somatic therapy. It's the use of dance and movement for what's the word I'm looking for, Chelsea? Emotional healing. Yeah. Just healing in general. It's not therapy for dancers. It's not physical therapy. It is, it's the emotional side of healing. And so I got my graduate degree. I followed the very predictable, traditional route. I took all the exams, did the internships, worked in community mental health, which for me meant 2 years working in an inpatient psychiatric facility. That's where many, many, many brand spanking new therapists end up working, because the turnover rate is so high. So they're constantly looking for new clinicians. So I worked there for a couple of years and loved certain aspects of it, and per usual got burnt out incredibly quickly. I was suffering at the end of the 2 years. I made a pivot, still in community mental health, and worked in a residential facility for adult women with borderline personality disorder, doing primarily dialectical behavior therapy mixed with dance movement therapy. I made it a year there before the burnout started to hit, and that's where I had my second dark night of the soul, where I was really just so overworked, burnt out, exhausted, was not feeling the passion that I felt for the career when I first went into it, was not enjoying it, and really I remember sitting in my car talking to my mentor at the time, just sobbing, saying like, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I want to do this anymore, which again, just like when I was an undergrad, was horribly painful, because I was thinking like, I've spent so much time and energy and money in this, and I loved this. I only started doing this because it felt like a soul calling. And so feeling like I can't do this anymore, this is gonna kill me. Like, I just can't function here anymore. Felt terrible. And that was when Chelsea kind of entered back into the picture. She had started Healing Embodied, I think, about a year or maybe 9 months or so before that. And she reached out to me completely on a whim, sent me a text. It's such a funny story. I love to think about it. She just said like, hey, you want to do some work for my company? And I was like, sure, whatever, I guess. I like you. You're cool. Like, yeah, whatever. And it was so part-time. Like, I was mostly doing kind of social media management more in the beginning, and with the thought of like, yeah, maybe eventually you'll like take on some clients or do a little work here and there. And that was when I really started to discover like, there's another way of doing this. Like, there's another way that I'm sure Chelsea will talk about in her story of doing somatic healing, doing the work I love in a way that isn't killing me and isn't draining my energy and draining my emotional, financial resources, like a way of doing this that actually feels good and serves me as much as it serves the people I'm working with and serving. And so at that point in time, I was still working full time in the residential. I was also working as part of a private practice in the place I was living at the time, and then also working for Healing Embodied. And then I made the very scary leap of quitting the full-time job and was just doing Healing Embodied in the private practice. And then back in 2022, I think it was, fully left everything and went completely full-time with Healing Embodied and have never looked back and don't plan on looking back. Yeah, I don't know if this is video recorded for your audience.
Is.
I'm like, they're gonna see us just
Yeah.
we can't not do it. So I'm like, you're gonna see a lot of wiggles in our little squares here. But yeah, that's a little bit about how I ended up where I am now. I love it. There are so many days, Chelsea and I talk about this all the time, that I'm like, I still can't believe this is possible. Like, I can't believe we actually get to do this. Like, this is crazy. Isn't someone gonna like come in and tell us we can't do this anymore? I'm like, because it's just so different than everything I was experiencing, so different than what the stories we were told of what therapists do and the places you can work and what kind of work you can do. And so, yeah, it's pretty crazy to think back over the past 10-ish years now, but that's how I ended up here.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I just want to say, before we go on to like hear Chelsea's story, you are so brave. You're so courageous. And this is why I love sharing stories like this, because that's like 3 ego deaths, like you know, 3 oh my god, just got to take the leap moments in your life that you did. And
thank God you did as well.
And you're just like proof of what happens, like what can happen if you keep doing it. And like it's just that's quite a lot in 3 years, isn't it, really, for you to have to kind of like die and leap and die and leap again. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of say you're so brave.
So
Well done,
brave.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm in awe of past Sarah for being willing to do that, and I'm very grateful that she did.
Yeah, amazing. Chelsea.
I already have chills and I'm tearing up. So this is just, every time I like hear Sarah's story and our stories converging all over again, it's just like, just gets me. It's magic. Yeah. And so thank you for your reflections too. And I couldn't agree more. My story, I grew up very religious, in a very conservative, religious household upbringing. So I was like, oh, like my purpose and mission in life is to like work in a church and do mission stuff. And I went to the Bible college for university undergrad that my pastor went to. I was like, first I was going to be like something called an apologist, which is someone who basically argues all day, gets paid to argue for Christianity all day. It's truly anyway.
Wow.
I was like, I'm gonna debate people, and then I had to take a psych class, and I fell in love with that, and then I changed my major to counseling. At the time, I was in a long-term committed relationship from the church and from the religious world. And my plan was like, I'm going to graduate, I'm going to get married, which is like the pinnacle of like what you do when you're raised in conservative Christianity. Is like you get married, and that's like the whole purpose of being a woman. And I got my undergraduate degree in counseling, Christian counseling, and got engaged. I was like, all right, life's set. Like, I'm doing what God wants me to do. Like, here we go. And my fiance, 3 months before our wedding, was like, I don't love you, I never did, and I can't marry you. And my whole world crumbled. Yeah. And so everything, I started questioning everything I believed about God and love and my career. It's like, what do I do now? Like my path of like becoming a wife is like now over. Like, what is my God, what have you done to me? And I followed all the rules. I followed them perfectly. And this was my first really dark night of the soul. And so I started thinking about like, what now? What comes next? And I also had been a dancer for a very long time, also a musical theater nerd. I loved just expression and creativity. And I also loved psychology. And I'm like, just started dreaming again. Okay, if that path that I thought is no longer on the table, what else is possible for me? And, again, at the time I was also just deconstructing conservative, very rigid, shame-based spiritual beliefs that brought me to my knees. Um, Again, just questioning everything and starting to also simultaneously dream about what's next. And I was like, is there a way to combine dance and therapy? And and this is before ChatGPT. So I Googled. I still Google. Okay, most of my searching is Google. So you can go F yourself, ChatGPT. I found dance and movement therapy. And I read the description and I was like, this is me if I were a career.
Yeah.
And within a very short amount of months, I was sending in my application, flying to Chicago to interview. And I got accepted to the same cohort that Sarah did back in 2015. Oh my gosh, can't believe it. And also at the same time, I had met a new guy right before moving to grad school, but he was everything I was told I shouldn't be with. Not a Christian, just like a very like a dude, just like, but I couldn't help but be attracted to him, and he showed up for me in ways that I had never experienced before. He was so like, there was no games, there was no questioning of like his feelings toward me. And so I was like also kind of like falling in love, but terrified of falling in love because I had my heart broken, and also like, you're not a Christian, I shouldn't be with you. Like this is taboo, like Romeo and Juliet. This is wrong. And so I was like, you know what? I got accepted to grad school. This is my ticket out. This is my excuse to run away from this relationship that was simultaneously amazing and also terrifying. And I went to grad school for dance and movement therapy. The continual deconstruction of the really rigid religious beliefs and the shame, the things I learned my whole life that emotions are bad, that they're like anti-spiritual, that like my emotions and my body were like the flesh. They were bad. They were wrong. They were this stumbling block to my spiritual journey. They were something that I needed to kind of move away from at all costs. And so here I am in this graduate program learning that like my body holds wisdom, and that my body is like a person. My body is like the portal to spirit. My body is like the most sacred thing, and that I can actually partner with my body, and I don't have to live in my mind, and I don't have to try to like escape my body, transcend my body, pray my emotions away. Like I found this sense of wholeness through just learning how to do this work. Our program was very experiential, so we had to really apply this work to ourselves, and my whole world was changing. And like I was also processing the grief of the breakup, and also trying to let this person in who really just wanted to love me. We were doing long distance because I just couldn't stop talking to him. I was just like, I don't know what's happening here. And I just processed so much anxiety through my body in those 2 years. And by the time I graduated, I had an engagement ring on my finger for the second time in my life. But to someone who was so committed, so loving, so there for me. We've now been together 11 years, married 7.5. Started my career as a dance and movement therapist, very similar to Sarah, working in psych. Was learned very quickly that I'm like, oh wait, no, this system, the United States, the Western mental health medical care system is absolute garbage. I was like, wow, this system is not for me. And I also learned upon moving to California, I went to grad school in Illinois, and then I moved to California because Matt, my partner, had gotten a job out in Los Angeles. And I moved to California being like, okay, I'm going to get my license in California. I'm going to get my clinical mental health license in California. And I learned that I couldn't. I got my degree in Illinois, but the United States is such garbage town. And like all the requirements for the states are all different for licensure. And
Yeah.
California was like, yeah, you didn't have this one class in your Illinois degree, so you just can't ever be a licensed therapist in California. So then that was another like dark night of the soul. Like, here was my plan. I was going to, go the safe route, get my degree, get my license, and I have a guaranteed job and safety net. And this is like just what you do. You go to school, that's the safe route. That's how you like make a living. And so between being burnt out in the mental health system and also being like, I can't ever get licensed. Like, my career in this path can only go so far. And so I started like having conversations with people who were like entrepreneurial and doing things differently and kind of like carving their own path. And I was like, wait a minute, could I do that? Am I allowed to like also get in on this? Like, I get to actually create a career that is in alignment with my values and my needs and is that an option? And so at the end of 2019, I registered Healing Embodied LLC in the state of California, started my own company, and that was the end of 2019. 2020 was my first full year in business. We made 6 figures. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, and here we are today, 2025, almost 2026, with our own accredited somatic certification program, which is like, wait, you're allowed to do that? Like, every step of the way has been like, wait a minute, what if this could be possible? And then you kind of just do it. And then you're like, wait, no one ever told me that any of this was an option. But like continually following those nudges, continually, like you said, doing the brave, scary things, blazing a trail that no one else showed you. And now we like do work that we're absolutely in love with. We both work from home. I'm not even wearing shoes right now. Like,
It's great.
we work about 20 hours a week. We're not burnt out. Like, of course, entrepreneurship is its own emotional journey, but I have cultivated so many internal somatic resources that help me keep going, even when it's challenging and uncertain and difficult. And when, we face judgment and criticism, like, it's the internal somatic resources really has been the somatic healing has been the through line through it all. It's what allowed me to feel safe in a relationship that was really loving, even though I had experienced a lot of pain. It's what helped me to unravel shame and rigid religious beliefs. It's what helped me feel safe to start a business. It's what helps keep me in business 6.5 years later. And so we have everything to owe to somatic healing on this
That's
journey.
incredible. And also so brave as well. Very brave
guys,
ladies.
So brave, because that religious programming is
Oh,
hardcore, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really, really, it's like in my opinion, I feel like it's one of the biggest kind of identity boxes
yeah.
that we can be kept in.
Mm,
And it takes some severe courage and bravery to get yourself out of that, because there's, like you said, there's so much shame in there, but there's so much fear as well, isn't there? It's like,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
I was sure I was going to go to hell if I started
Right.
questioning my beliefs. Like,
yeah,
that's what you're just told. If you question,
Yeah.
you're giving into the flesh. Satan's got a hold of you, and like, you're going to go down this dark path, and you better hope you don't lose your salvation. And there's really so much fear and shame embedded into the religious system I was raised in. It has a lot of overlap with like cults.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And it's not just fear in this life, isn't it? It's like fear in the in the next life. It's
Eternity of burning, like,
yeah,
no big deal.
yeah. It's just, yeah, it's amazing. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you shared your stories
Yeah.
before we go into this, because like truly, like you said, the somatic work, this that creates this internal safety, again, from my kind of perspective of the work that I do, is absolutely paramount. It is. You can do, obviously, predominantly a lot of the work that I do as a hypnotherapist and working with the subconscious mind is a lot of the mindset stuff. And I very quickly realized, obviously, that's what we're taught as hypnotherapists and doing all of that kind of stuff. I very quickly realized this is not enough. We have got to get the body involved. We've got to get the nervous system in line, because the mind's only going to take you so far. And if you don't have that internal safety or the tools and the ability to regulate yourself and feel safety from within, the mindset's only going to take you so far. It's not going to stick. So I'm now so excited to dive into somatic work, somatic healing. We're just going to let you take the floor, ladies. What we really want to kind of get across in this episode for people listening is what is, like, we keep saying it now, but what is somatic healing? How do you go about doing it? What can people do moving forward? Let's just dive into it. You guys take it away.
I'm thinking can we have class in session? We do a little
Yes, please.
science.
We are ready to learn.
Because people think that somatic healing is all woo-woo.
Yeah.
And I love me some woo-woo, okay? I'm not anti-woo-woo, okay? But it really is so much rooted in an understanding of the brain and nervous system. And I love that you start talking about subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind is like the doorway to the body. And I want us to all understand this. If everyone could learn this, I think we'd be in a really good place. So I want us to all take our fist. We're going to tuck our thumb into our palm. We're going to place our forefingers over our thumb. This is your brain. So this is based in Daniel Siegel's brain model. So this is where this comes from. But this is the human brain, and the top layer of the brain is our prefrontal cortex. That's our conscious mind. It's the part of our mind in charge of logic and reasoning and meaning making and making sense of things and decision making and rationalizing. It's what we access a lot when we're doing things like talk therapy. We're thinking through things, making sense of things, understanding things, having an intellectual understanding. And this is actually the newest part of the human brain. It's the last part of the brain to have developed in our human evolution journey. Underneath our prefrontal cortex in our thumb, this is the amygdala. This is the emotional center of the brain. This is like the subconscious. This is the part of the brain in charge of fear and safety and emotion. And this part of the brain has an intimate and immediate connection through the brainstem into the nervous system. So I'm tracing down my arm. My arm is like the body and in the nervous system. So the amygdala, the emotional center of the brain, immediate connection with the nervous system. Now, when we are triggered, activated, emotionally flooded, emotionally overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, we do something called flipping our lid. And this is where we lose access to the rational part of our brain. And suddenly we feel like emotionally hijacked. This is why we're like, I don't understand. Like, I want to do this thing, but every time I go to do it, I self-sabotage, or something takes over, or like, it's where we feel this kind of body-mind split. Like, I don't understand. I know all this stuff. Why can't I do X, Y, and Z? Why do I and this is where really our emotional body takes over. We become emotionally hijacked. And a lot of people, they try to rationalize and logic their way into feeling safe, into they're like, okay, if I just like say the mantra, if I just journal, then I'll be able to like get myself together. And like you said, that can really only take us so far. But the language of like the emotion, the emotional center of the brain, speaks a completely different language than our rational mind, right? This is logic, reasoning, meaning making language. And the emotional center of the brain, it speaks the language of the nervous system. And actually 80% of communication happens from the nervous system to the brain, and only 20% happens from the brain to the nervous system. So the nervous system is like the control center. And the majority of our behaviors, emotions, thoughts are dictated by our nervous system state. So when we actually start working with the nervous system and knowing how to create safety in the body, and the language of the body, the language of the nervous system is sensation, breath, movement, posture, like the energy we feel in our body when we feel emotion. It's energy and motion. So it's energy, it's movement, it's sensation, it's breath, it's all the nonverbal things. So when we know how to connect with the language of the nervous system, the language of the body, and we're speaking that language, and we can create safety in the nervous system, it sends new signals up to the amygdala. It says, hey, we're safe. Hey, this emotion has passed. Hey, like, we're sending a new signal, and then we can regain access to that rational part of the brain. And then we feel that sense of coherence. We feel that sense of like, my rational mind and my emotional body are on the same page. And now the things I consciously want to do are backed by my subconscious body. Like, and so when we know how to partner with our body, it's going to take us so much farther, because again, the majority of what we do, what we think, how we feel is dictated by our nervous system state. So if we can partner with our nervous system, not in a way to try to dominate it or hack it. I see a lot of this kind of stuff out there too. Everything's about regulating your emotions away. No, it's, can I partner with my body? Can I learn to feel safe, to feel the full range of the human experience, so that I can stay connected to myself and I can stay inside of myself, feeling safe inside of myself when I'm experiencing something difficult or challenging, so that I don't feel like I'm constantly flipping my lid and feeling emotionally hijacked and not understanding why, or not feeling safe. And so then I'm constantly trying to avoid those feelings, or I'm trying to rationalize them away, or I'm going up into my head because I don't know how to feel my feelings. So that's really my science spiel of like, why somatic healing? Why?
Yes.
And then there's a lot of different hows, but it's really important to understand why this matters so much, because we're not the floating heads.
Yes. Oh my gosh, yes.
That was such a good explanation as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was that. Yeah, I understood
that.
that.
It's this, that is the, when people can't do that, that's when you start going to the self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
That's when you abandon yourself, isn't it? And you start going on Netflix binge, or you eat loads of food, or you do drugs, or you drink alcohol, like anything, like you name it, because we're trying to run away from those feelings because we can't regulate ourselves. So we use the external things to regulate our nervous system, and that's where then most of the time it's not healthy, is it? Sometimes you can have the healthy things too, but most of the times it's not wanted, isn't it? So and I think, like, thank you for that explanation, because so many of us don't understand how our bodies work, and it's outrageous to me. Like, this is what we should be learning in schools. This is what our children need to know, please.
Yes, please.
Yes. Thank you for that, because I think that's just so clear. It's so simple. And when you understand that's what's going on, you can then step in and take action steps towards it, to rectifying it, can't you? Which we can lead on now to, what is it? How do you guys teach that? What do you do? How can people do that?
Yeah. We something that's really, really big at Healing Embodied specifically is creative expression, and fostering a creative relationship with your emotions, with your body, with all parts of yourself, with your experiences, etc. And this to me really is the big differentiating factor between a practitioner who uses somatic informed interventions. So let me finish that sentence before I start a new sentence. Someone who uses somatic informed interventions versus a true somatic therapist or somatic practitioner. You were mentioning earlier that like somatic healing has gotten much more popular in the past, I think like 5-ish years, 5 to 10 years. It's just like, I'm seeing it everywhere. Everyone, somatic, embodied, which is amazing. I'm very happy about that. I want the body to be something that every single person alive is talking about, relating to, working with, bringing into their experiences. Like, that's amazing. And what we're also seeing, along with the increase in awareness and prevalence of somatic healing and somatic practices, is a lot of people using somatic informed interventions. So maybe a body-based practice, a body scan, a like go in the field and scream to release anger, something along those lines, which is not inherently bad. Those are not bad things. It's not a bad thing that we're using somatic informed practices. But like Chelsea was saying, they often come from this intention of like regulating away our emotions, right? The purpose of these interventions is to not feel what we're feeling, right? We use a body scan when we're anxious so that we don't feel anxious anymore. We scream in a field or punch a pillow when we're angry so that we don't feel angry anymore. We embody courage and confidence when we're feeling self-doubt so that we don't feel self-doubt anymore. And so much of what we do and what comes into our work at Healing Embodied in our individual work, our group program, and our practitioners that we train is using embodiment, using movement to foster a relationship with these different parts of yourself, to have a creative working relationship, a dialogue, to see your emotions as energy that you can move with, play with, dance with, create with, to see that no emotion, no part of yourself is bad. No emotion is inherently bad. They are all just energy. We have emotions that are pleasurable, emotions that are unpleasurable. We have emotions that are comfy and ones that are uncomfy, but they're not less than. There's no value judgment. They're not good, bad, right, wrong. And when we can foster this very creativity-based relationship, then when even an uncomfortable, maybe a very, very uncomfortable emotion shows up, you have, as Chelsea was saying, the internal resources to feel safe in that experience, to recognize you can feel uncomfortable and safe at the same time, that uncomfortable doesn't equal unsafe. So you can stay grounded in a sense of internal safety and then start to relate to these emotions through this lens of maybe movement, maybe creativity, embodiment. We have a very broad definition of somatic and embodiment. It's not just external movement. Often it is, especially, I mean, if people watch this video, they're going to see that Chelsea and I are like dancing the entire time we're talking. We're very external movers. We just are. And our definition of embodiment also brings in internal movement, your heartbeat, your breath. It brings in imagery. It brings in dramatization. It brings in art making. It brings in music. It brings in rhythm. It brings in really all creative inroads, creative modalities to relating to yourself. I would say our mission, probably like the core principle of Healing Embodied is like fostering a relationship where you can love and accept all parts of yourself, that all parts are welcome, the good, bad, the ugly, the dark, the scary, and everything in between, that it is all welcome. It's all energy. It's all parts that you can play with and create with and move with, dance with, and use in your life. Yeah, that to me is a big separating factor between simply somatic-based interventions, something that uses the body for the goal of maybe regulating an emotion, feeling calmer, feeling less angry, feeling more present, which, again, those are good for a lot of people, especially if you're living in high levels of dysregulation. Some skills and some tools that can help you come from up here to here are necessary. They're life-saving for a lot of people. And there's so much more to somatic healing than just regulating your emotions away.
Before we get on with the show, if you've been stuck in that loop of overthinking, procrastinating, beating yourself up, and then feeling frozen, you're not lazy. Your nervous system is overwhelmed. We made you a free 12-minute guided reset to help you soften, breathe, and come back into safety. It's in the show notes. Wow, that's so important, isn't it?
So, because there's a few things that are like popping into my head when you're saying that there's more. So, like, I believe that from my experience with the work that I do, your body, I think, Chelsea, you said it at the beginning, your body is just full of wisdom. It's a messenger. It's got so much wisdom for us, and we just don't pay attention to it, or we drown it out. We don't listen. We don't even, we're not in our bodies. Like you said, like we're just all up here. We're floating heads, may as well be most of the time. So, like, you know, we drop down, we'll see there's so much wisdom. And then, you know, another thing that I was thinking of was, no, what was the other one I was thinking of? I can't remember it right now. But I suppose my question with that is then, that's what I was going to say. Yeah. Also, obviously, when we're feeling our emotions and we're paying attention, allowing everything, not only does that give us wisdom, but I'm guessing like we're training our bodies, our minds, our nervous systems to feel safe, you know, on a daily basis, really, with those kind of emotions. Because like you said, you know, from all of our programming from childhood, we're in some way or another, we are taught that it's not safe to have these uncomfy feelings, aren't we? We're like, run away from them, don't do them. Even like, I'm just thinking now, like even when we're children and you fall over and you hurt yourself, your mum comes, don't cry, don't cry, be brave, it's okay. And it's like, no. So it's really programmed in from the start, isn't it? So I suppose, with all that being said, my question is, what in your guys' opinion and your work, what is the benefit of doing this, like of feeling our emotions and doing this work?
Yeah. I'll throw one thing out there and then I'll pass it to you, Chelsea. Yeah, I love how you're describing that, of like you're teaching your body, you're teaching your brain and your body to feel safe in the full the full human experience. Whatever part of the human experience shows up for you, you feel safe in that. And that feeling of safety comes from building trust with your body. Like, I trust my body to feel whatever shows up. I trust myself to feel whatever happens, whatever emotion shows up, whatever intensity of the emotion. I trust myself to be able to move with that, to feel that safely. And I trust that when it's outside of my capacity and I need support, I trust myself to seek out that support, right? It's not that you are like, I'll never be impacted by anything. No, it's actually, I trust myself to be very impacted in a safe, loving, cohesive way. Like, you're building that sense of safety, which comes from building trust in your body.
Yeah. Otherwise, you're in fight or flight mode constantly, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah. The other piece, can you rephrase the question again that you asked, Sarah? I want to like make sure. Yeah, really.
So in your guys' opinion, what is the reason
Yeah.
why are we doing this somatic work? Why are we getting in touch with the full range of our emotions?
Yes, thank you. Really, ultimately, it's to increase our capacity to feel, because we are human beings. And as a human being, a huge part of that is emotion. It's feeling, it's experiencing. And the more that we have capacity to feel, the more we're able to move through our life with a lot more, I don't want to say ease in the way that life is easy, but instead of, okay, so for an example from my own life, a big emotion that I had to really build a relationship with was disappointment. And I had to increase my capacity to feel safe to feel disappointment, because say I've started a business, say I put something out there. I'm like, okay, I'm going to create this thing. I'm going to put it out there. And I really hope that like people join. I really hope that people sign up. If I am so terrified of the possibility of feeling disappointment, I might not talk about it, or I might be like, oh, well, I put it out there and no one signed up, so I'm going to take it down. Like, it's really hard to lean in and show up for life when we're so afraid of the potential of feeling an emotion that we don't feel safe to feel. But if I increase my capacity to feel safe with disappointment, and for me, disappointment feels like this heaviness in my chest and this like hollowness in my stomach, and my shoulders kind of come forward, and I just like kind of feel this like curling in my posture, and it's like this like really uncomfy, icky feeling. But if I know that it's just energy and motion, if I know that it's just sensation, if I know that it's part of the human experience, and I've actually learned how to like feel all those things in my body and maybe like give them an expression or give them a voice, or just like learn to just sit with them and breathe with them and allow them to move through, and I trust that the emotion will not stay forever, right? If I do all that with the emotion of disappointment, then I can go, you know what? I don't know what's going to happen if I post this thing, but I'm going to keep posting, and I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to keep doing the thing, even if no one signs up, because I know that if no one signs up, all I'll feel is disappointment, and it's not going to kill me. And I'm also not going to make fear-based meaning out of it, right? This is what our mind does. It makes a judgment and a meaning of the emotion. If I feel disappointment, that means I'm a failure. And then this is where shame can come in. And if I'm a failure, then I'm unworthy. So I'm not going to, therefore I'm going to live my whole life in avoidance of anything in which I might feel an uncomfortable emotion and then make a meaning about that I'm bad and wrong and unworthy. So our lives become very restricted. And we actually we do a lot of things out of avoidance of, rather than actually moving toward the thing we want, knowing that there's a possibility that we will experience pain and discomfort. So the more that I feel safe and have more capacity to feel those feelings in my body without the meaning and the judgment and the stories and the shame, then the sky's the freaking limit. There's nothing I can't do because I'm willing to feel it all. So that means I'm willing to show up. I'm willing to take a risk. I'm willing to put myself out there. I'm willing to be myself. I'm willing to be vulnerable. I'm willing to be judged because I'm a motherfucker. Can I cuss?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
I'm a motherfucking Jedi master at feeling. That's why.
That is
Yeah.
The F word is my favorite, so I'm like, oh, am I allowed?
I've been trying so hard to not swear this whole time, so I'm glad you asked.
She gave you the like go ahead from the start.
Okay. Let's get it all out. Get it all.
Cram it all in now.
Word vomit all the swears. Yeah. I love that. And something that I've heard from clients we've worked with a lot is the question you're asking, Tasha, but like a very genuine, like, why would I do this work if that requires me to feel the uncomfy feelings that I've spent my whole life avoiding? Like, I found some pretty good ways of avoiding them. And you're telling me that I'm going to have to feel them. Like, genuinely, why would I do that? Right?
Yeah.
And my answer, my very authentic answer, is going to sound a little bit cheekier than I actually mean it to. I'm a pretty cheeky person, but like, it's my genuine answer, which is like, you cannot selectively numb emotions. You can't selectively avoid. If you're going to avoid, like Chelsea was saying, disappointment, you are also limiting the amount of joy and experience and love you can have in your life. If you're going to avoid anxiety, then you are also going to minimize the amount of excitement and new experiences and stepping into the unknown and creating new pathways for yourself. Like, if you are going to avoid the uncomfy, you are also going to cap the comfy. You are going to cap the amount of goodness that you can feel in your life. And that's an option. If you want it, that's the cheeky part. Like, that's an option. If you want to do that, that's okay. I'm not telling you have to feel more joy. Like, that's entirely in your hands. For myself, I wasn't willing to accept that. I wasn't willing to say, yeah, I'll just avoid all of this and be okay with this much goodness. I was like, no, I kind of want the big shit. I want to feel the big stuff. I want to take the risks. I want to do the thing. Like, I want to uncap that potential. I want to feel as much love as possible. I don't know how long I'm going to be on this planet, and I want to experience it as much as I possibly can to the fullness that I can. And so to be able to do that, I have to hold the uncomfy, and I'm willing to do that. I'm going to do that because of how much more of the goodness that opens up for me. And if someone's not willing to do that, that's okay. Or doesn't want to, isn't ready yet to do that, that's their choice. And I want everybody to know that you can't just pick one. You can't say, I won't do that and I'll do this. That's toxic positivity, and it'll work trust me, I'm talking from past Sarah here. It'll work for a couple years and then it will come crashing down around you, and you won't be able to toxic positivity your way out of it anymore because you'll have 3 dark nights of the soul in 3 years. Like it will come crashing down around you. But yeah, that's so much of our work too, is like, to the question of like, why would I feel that if it's going to open up goodness? It's like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do that if it's going to unlock all of this like nom, 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 delicious?
Oh, yummy. Delicious. Oh my God. I love you guys. Yeah, this is like, that is such a good point. These are just such good points. I can feel like everyone's going ping, 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 ping.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm like, listening to you girls, I'm like, oh, there's so much of that in my house, you know, this avoidance. Like, we're a house full of anxiety, doing everything you just said. And I want to come over there with you.
We just dance our way over to you guys. Honestly though, it's like that. I just want to hammer home, Sarah, what you just said, with that you can't have one without the other, because we're living in a world of duality, right? Like there is no, people do think there's like 2 different emotions, anxiety and an excitement, and there's not. It's just a spectrum, isn't it? And it's like two sides of the spectrum, and you can't, we live in this world, you can't have light without dark, you know, like just any opposition, they're not separate, they're just 2 ends of the same thing. And that exactly right there is just so important. You've just made it so clear. People can't ignore it. And like I always say as well, you have a choice. It's completely up to you. You have a choice in every moment, and it's totally fine. You know, whenever you're ready, you can make that choice. But I just think it's really difficult to make that choice when you're not connected to your body. And like going back to what we said before, so many of us are out of our bodies, we're in our heads. But when you can get into your body, it was something, it was like the first lot of work I had to do, wasn't it? I realized I was so disconnected from my body. And a big reason for me was because I lived in chronic pain from the time I was 16, because I fractured my spine when I was in my dance exam, ironically. I love dancing a bit too much. But yeah, and so it was just painful to be in my body all the time. And so of course, like I came out of it because it hurt. But obviously with that, you get, you miss the messages. And so a lot of my messages around, that I now know around my back was because I didn't feel safe. Like there was a lot of things that happened to me where I didn't feel safe. I had a lot of feelings of instability, and that had manifested in my lower back, which weakened my back, which then allowed it to snap when I was dancing. But again, then to that point, when I started focusing on the emotions in my body and what they were telling me, and I focused on safety and feeling safe in my body, my back started healing itself. And I tell this story all the time, but like it just doesn't get old, because it fits. Doesn't matter what we're talking about, it fits, doesn't it? And that's the power of being in your body and working on the emotions and working again on safety, because I bet there's loads of people listening that have lower back pain or some kind of back issues, and a lot of that is around safety, and everything you're talking about is that fostering that safety within your body as well. It's gonna really, it has so many far-reaching ramifications when you feel safe to feel all of those feelings. But like you said, I love that you've taken it one step further, and it's not that you just help yourself to feel safe, you actually open yourself up to so much more expansion and so much more of the, in quotes, positive, like pleasurable, delicious feelings and emotions.
Absolutely. And I mean, something that's coming up for me as you're talking about your experience with your back and healing that is like also the wisdom of going up into your mind sometimes, right? So many people develop these patterns of being up here and not down here because at some point being down here was unsafe, or it was outside of their capacity of what they could handle, either because of chronic pain, abuse, trauma, whatever the situation was, like feeling their emotions in their body was not safe. And so they escaped to their mind, not consciously, that's what happened. They escaped their mind to try and get them through. And it did get them through, right? And so,
Mhm.
like, helping people understand why that happened in the
Mhm.
first place. And then to going back to like Chelsea's hand example she was talking through, like, then helping your body and your brain see we're not back there anymore. It's safe now. It's safe now to be in your body. It's safe now to feel. It's safe now to like dive into all the stuff and come back to this beautiful, wonderful vessel that we have.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly. And like what you've just done there, where you just like hugged your body, that is another side benefit and huge bonus of doing this work with your body, isn't it? Because it develops this like new self-love that
Yeah.
you haven't had before, like self-love and respect. And honestly, like every day, like I look in the mirror, especially if I'm like, "Ooh, what's that lump?" Or like, oh, to feel a bit frumpy, I'm like, oh, I love you.
Do.
Thank you so much for
Aw.
carrying me in this world. Like,
Yeah.
thank you for your wisdom.
Yeah.
And like, honestly, like that's the self-love. You can't work out in your mind. Like that is done purely by focusing and developing a relationship with your body, which is just beautiful as well.
It's making me think of something that's really tangible that people listening can do to speak to exactly what we're speaking about here. And first of all, going back to your chronic pain example, is differentiating between pain versus suffering, right? A lot of us can experience pain in life, right? Chronic pain, just emotional pain, grief. There's pain, which is part of the human experience, the human condition, because we feel. And then there's suffering, which is all of the stories and the shame that we layer on top of that pain. So an example, like in chronic um, pain things that I hear from people is like, my body has betrayed me. What's wrong with me? I hate this about myself. So that's the suffering. So that it amplifies the pain. But if we can just go and go, what's it like to be a person who's in pain? What's it like to be a person who's grieving? Because our body is a person. What's it like to be a person who's grieving? What's that like? And we strip away all the judgment and we get into curiosity. Can I be curious about what it's like to be a person whose heart is broken, who feels that ache in their chest? What's it like for myself in this moment? If I can kind of step outside of myself and go, ooh, what's it like to be a person who's feeling scared? And then we go, oh my gosh, like it feels shaky. I feel fluttering inside of me. I feel like I'm looking around the corner. Okay. And when I really see myself and I become a loving witness to my own experience, and I go, whoa, or what's it like to have that pain in your back? Oh my gosh, it's this heavy pinching. It's this ringing. It's this pulling. And I feel so tired. There's a tiredness. Oh my God. Now, as I become a loving witness to my experience versus a judge of my experience, and I layer on that suffering and that shame, then something enters in, which is compassion. And then when I can have compassion for this human, this animal of my body, then from the compassion develops that self-love. So maybe in that moment when you go, what's it like to have pain in my back? Oh my God, I feel it here and it's heavy and I just feel this tiredness. I'm now seeing myself. I'm just like being with the experience. Maybe I just let myself do the posture that my body's really wanting to do. And then suddenly I go, whoa, finally just like letting myself feel it. And then I can go, gosh, huh. And then maybe, maybe that kind of self-hug or a soothing touch comes in and go, I'm here. I'm here. I hear you. I see you. I'm with you. I'm present with you. Wow, this has been a lot. Gosh, this has been really hard, hasn't it? Right. And this is the relationship, right? It's like we're talking to ourselves, right? Like in such a different way because of we're relating to our body as a living, breathing, feeling person versus this inconvenience and all the things that we've learned to see our bodies as. Our body is bad. It's an inconvenience. Like I'm tired. I'm supposed to get all this stuff done. What's wrong with me? Why can't I be more energetic? Well, and so that's where the self-love emerges. It's not something we put on like a Band-Aid. It's a natural byproduct of these things.
Yes, amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've totally experienced that you've said. I totally experienced that on
That's
my
what you
journey.
did, yeah.
And I can vouch that 100% works. And it's not always easy, and it is a journey, and it does take time, and it takes, like any relationship, it takes commitment and understanding all the things, because like you said, your body, I talk to my body like it's like a child, because I feel like that it's easiest to give that amount of love and care and compassion and understanding to a child. I feel like for most people that's easier to kind of relate to. And so that's what I do, and it has genuinely worked, and it does bring peace, and it did stop my suffering, because I was 100% causing my own suffering with my back. That's not to say that it wasn't hurting and it wasn't painful, because it was all those things, but the stories I told myself around it really, really amplified it. And from the work that I do with the subconscious mind, knowing how your body and your subconscious mind actually responds to you, your cells respond to what you say and the stories you tell yourself, it will become a self-fulfilling prophecy. I know there's loads of times, but I have two very obvious times where the stories I was telling about myself manifested in my real life as very serious issues, and I could 100% track how I had caused that, and I had spoke that into existence because of the way that I was talking to and about my body. So this is a whole nother conversation, but we really do have so much control over how our bodies behave and our health in general. So we must be careful what we're saying and the stories that we're telling ourselves about our bodies as well, not just because we're causing our own suffering, but because we are manifesting and creating things in as well. That's a kind of a side note, but I feel like that kind of
important,
led that.
isn't it?
Yeah, really important.
Yeah, because it's like otherwise we're at war with ourselves.
Yes.
And that level of strain and stress of constantly being at war with ourselves because we're saying all these things about ourselves, that weighs on our body. Like our body, like you said, our body hears everything that we think. Our body hears everything that we say. And if we have the dominant story in our mind is this nasty inner judge, it's the shame, right? It's that inner, we call it like an internalized operating system. It's the way in which I see myself, and it's wrong, it's bad, you're broken. What's it like to be a person who hears that they're wrong and bad and broken all the time?
Yeah, that's such a good way to look at it, to be able to take a step back and detach from yourself, isn't it? Yeah.
Guys, I feel like we could go. This conversation's gone so quickly, and I feel like we could talk. Yeah, it's
5 hours. Yeah.
It's insane.
I can listen to you two.
Honestly. And I feel like you have given so many gold nuggets.
Yeah.
I feel like you've
Made it
brought
so
so much
clear.
awareness to people listening to this already. I suppose the one thing before we go, if you could maybe like summarize it quickly, because I know this is a huge thing as well. We've just run out of time. But I know, Sarah, you were saying earlier the way that you kind of do things is with the breath and movement and posture. And I know there were some other ones, but I suppose for people listening now, if they wanted to kind of start feeling their emotions safely and practicing what you've said, could you just quickly give them a rundown of the processes that you use, or the practices, the way in which they could start doing that on their own? But obviously this works great if it's done facilitated by people who are trained and who understand. Obviously, I think you've very clearly demonstrated that in this interview, but what could they do if they wanted to start doing that for themselves now?
Me? You?
Okay.
You go. I can take it.
Chelsea and I always do a little like, I'll jump in and then you can tag team, Chelsea. Yes, definitely. I always support getting support with somatic healing. And a really good place to start is just slowly starting to become aware of the fact that you have a body. I say actually don't start in emotional territory. Just start with sensation. When you are washing the dishes at the end of the day, instead of just your brain is wandering and going back over the day and thinking about everything you have to do after this, pay attention to what your body's doing. Can you feel the warmth of the water? Can you smell the dish soap? Can you feel the slipperiness of the bubbles? Can you feel the roughness of the sponge? Can you feel the sensation of the droplets of water on your hand? When you are sitting on the couch watching TV, instead of just fully zoning out, can you become aware of the sensation of the pillow on your back? And oh, I've had my neck like this for an hour and ooh, it's actually kind of tight. Okay. Can you notice how you're breathing? Are you breathing through your nose, through your mouth? Can you feel it in your lungs, in your belly, in your throat? When you're taking a shower, can you actually feel the soap on your skin? Is it smooth? Is it kind of rough if you have one of those exfoliators or something like that? Can you feel the warmth of the water? Can you feel the steam on your face? Can you look around and notice what you see? Actually, starting in non-emotionally charged territory is usually where I encourage people to start, because it can be a very safe inroad to literally just becoming aware of the fact that you have a body and that your body feels things. And then as you start to become aware of how your body exists in the world through sensation, through feeling, posture, breath, then we can start to tiptoe into more emotionally charged territory. I woke up late and had to rush around to get ready. Okay, what am I feeling in my body right now? Well, my heart rate is increasing. It's kind of hard to breathe. I'm having a hard time focusing on anything around me. I'm feeling sweaty in my pits. Okay, and then a couple weeks later, my partner and I had a tense conversation and I'm feeling like my shoulders are tense. I'm feeling my hands start to get kind of clammy. I'm feeling my mouth is dry. We can start to tiptoe into the sensations of more emotionally charged territory. That's often where I invite people to start, is like, let's just become aware of the fact that you have a body, and let's do that in a really safe, easy, approachable way before we start to tiptoe into more emotionally charged territory.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfectly said.
Great. I love that. And yeah, and also, and I want to add to that as well, I think a lot of because I'm bringing the mind stuff as well, a lot of people think thoughts come first and then feelings, but it's actually your feelings come first and then the thoughts get attached to it from the old things that we've learned in the past. And when you do what you've just said, Sarah, is like you get used to these feelings and sensations in your body, you can just become aware that before the thought comes, you're feeling that feeling. You're like, oh, I recognize that feeling. And that is all it is. It, like you said, it's just energy in motion. It's just the feelings in my body. I don't have, it gives you a little bit of a gap. It gives you a little bit of breathing room to stop that story and stop the subconscious patterning, replaying over again. So you can kind of get in there and say, no, I think we're not going to have that. Instead, we're just going to say, this is what it is. I'm going to let myself feel it. And then your prefrontal cortex can come back online and you can go about your day doing the things that you want to do. Guys, it's been an absolute joy speaking to you two. Honestly, it really, really has. I've enjoyed it so much. I suppose before we leave, is there anything you would like to leave our audience with today? Anything you would like to let them know before you guys go?
No, just build a relationship with your body. Your body has been waiting your whole life for you to go, hey, I want to get to know you.
Yes. Oh, so true. Thank you.
Hey guys, if you feel like you're running out of time, like you need to hurry your healing, like you have to prove you're worthy of the life you desire, I want you to hear this. You don't need to do more. You need safety. So we made you a free 12-minute guided audio called Return to Self, the Subconscious Reset, to calm your nervous system, quiet the noise, and bring you back to yourself. Grab it free in the show notes and come back to it whenever life feels loud. Where can people find you, ladies?
The interwebs.
That's always a good start, isn't it? Not ChatGPT. Don't search on there for her.
We're on Instagram at healing.embodied. We're on Facebook. We have a free Facebook community for creatives, healers, leaders, entrepreneurs called the Embodied Leader paradigm. We're on Facebook as well. We have a podcast, the Healing Embodied podcast. We have YouTube. Just look up Healing Embodied. Where else are we? We're on TikTok, but not very much. TikTok annoys me. If I'm
We
being
have a
honest.
website, healingembodied.com.
We have a website.
We have a website.
You
I think
guys,
those are the main places. Yeah.
Blog.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll make sure everything is in the show notes anyway, so people can go find you. I know that they will want to.
For sure.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. This is so nice.
So wonderful.
Absolutely.
Right, guys, that is it for another episode. That's a stonker of an episode. We will see you next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.